Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I am Dustin. We are going to first look at this trade card, then we're going to look at the data to figure out what the F happened to WeWork today. It was up 86%, 86.97% to be exact. It's up at $5.74. As you can see, the price shot. It wasn't even close to its 15-day moving average. It was well below for quite a long time. It shot directly above. I'm quite impressed. Over 5 days now, we're up 62%. Over 15 days, only 7.9 or 7.09%. We're still significantly down over the past year, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. So no matter what, I know you're watching this video because you're probably long of it. Maybe you're short and you just got squeezed to death. I hope not for anyone involved. But this is an opportunity to really investigate what are unusual moves in the market that have nothing to do with fundamentals and are probably structurally driven and or just based on some sort of random exogenous catalyst that just moved the market. But what we do have, if we look at the raw data, I love this chart. And I don't love the chart from the perspective of that's only 9 months of data and this thing was at $80 or 90. It was at $94 on February 2nd of 2023. And now this thing is fighting for its life off of the bottom where the low has been at 269, 264. I honestly have a lot of empathy and I hope that no one's account blew up. I hope that everybody's trading well. I hope that everybody respected risk management, long or short in the situation. I hope that people have just done nothing but make money. Now, looking back at the data, it is interesting to see that over the past months, I mean, obviously, here's how I'll look at this. The easiest thing for me to look at is just look at this column first, look at the longest time series, which is going to be for the past 6 months, this thing is down 86%. If we start scrolling up, I want to look and see, has it ever been positive on the 3 month rolling return? It has not at all. Now we'll look at the 1 month. Now, right now in the 1 month, it's very, very negative. We'll roll up to when it all flipped. It looks like it flipped here. If you watch my videos, I really do care about when all of the rolling returns flip in one direction or the other. So we were looking right here at June 26th, it was at $9.25. We saw it go negative on the 1 day, 5 day, 15 day, 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month. Now we have seen it flip back and forth on the 1 day and the 5 day, but we have not seen any changes in the 15 day, 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month, which generally is a very strong sign that whatever the trend is in control. If it flips bullish, that's great. If it flips bearish, that's also great depending on how you're positioned. Now, when we look at the overall market, I can say that if we see the price down here, we have fallen ridiculously fast. I'm actually blown away by the fact of how this thing has behaved, because what I can tell is that what's interesting is that this thing was at $3.07 today. It's at 5.74. It is back up above its 23-day moving average and its 5-day moving average. That's good to see. We did see 61 million shares traded today. I'm actually kind of baffled by this. As I look at this, it even confounds my models. I can see some things that I'm going to point out in a moment that are just confusing to me. And it's all because of how the price has been moving. Now, if we look this thing, the volatility has been rising for quite a while. It looks like the beginning of April, volatility just started rising in WeWork. The price to fall, like if you look at the future price path, right? This right here, this is based on correlation and volatility correlation. This thing essentially has been on a price to fall ever since we were at the beginning of August. I mean, you've seen some weird flips. I'm not sure what these days have been, where you've gotten these like 12% days, these 5%, this 43% days in August. I'm just blown away as I look at this and investigate, because what I'm going to point out is that this bullishness is, I'm confused about why that's there, but it's because this is, as a penny stock, it's so difficult for this thing to make proper sense inside of any realistic model. And the move has been so down. It actually makes me question this, and I want to actually investigate it a little bit, but I'm very curious because we've seen some go long signals pop up inside of WeWork, and those were probably very powerful, which again, I now understand it was up 43% in 1 day. That's a huge move. It was up 43% in 1 day, and then 10% another day, and then nearly 10% another day. Those are humongous moves over the course of what is essentially, I mean, you're going up almost 100%. You know, I mean, you're getting to 890. I'm not sure what the highs are, but 890 up of 516. That's a ridiculous thing that just comes out of nowhere, because this thing was at $9, $8, then it just dropped 38% in 1 day, and then it popped through. So like you have this weird exogenous event in the middle. And again, I do not know what it is, because this isn't financial advice and I don't look at the fundamentals. It just is showing me that it's tricking the way that the math is being set up. The bullishness or the bearishness in the short term is completely being reflected. Like on the short term, it's completely being reflected, but you can't, because of the way the model is set up, it doesn't lose these really large moves, and the fluctuations are obnoxious because you're probably seeing gaps. And when you see a gap, one of the things that is really weird about it is that a gap, you create a low, but that low is so low relative to the open because you move so quickly. And if you have a high like this here, like you see on the 10th, when this thing hit $13, you see the high, but it closes at 740. It adds a ridiculous amount of sentiment in terms of the way that the price is actually moving, or at least how what it's reflecting in my model. you're probably going to get a pretty good indication of how the model is set up when you think about it from a trend perspective based on that explanation. But the math behind it isn't that complex. You just have to really like understand the way that the market will move and understand what you're looking for. We're looking at the bullishness in the longer term, and I do not believe in it. I do not respect it. I think the model is being tricked. We're looking at the rolling sentiment. We see a falling bear. This is going to be based more on the short term. The 10 days is going to be based more on the short term. The 2 day, the 5 day, and the 10 day are going to be much more based on the short term, which is why you can see here. Guess what days these were, right? In the middle of August, you had these days. These are the days where you had like obnoxious moves, right? You were down 21%. But this is right after you were up 41%. See, and that's exactly what's being reflected in this. Because here you have these days, because these are the days where you're seeing, let's just make sure. So so these days, if we go up one, so these days is where you're seeing the extreme bullishness inside of WeWork, but it's because it's 3 days after you're seeing this, and it's a 2 day average where it's really starting to compare what the market is doing internally. And that's why I just don't believe in these kinds of signals. It's really quite scary the way that WeWork is able to do this because, and I don't mean around my model. I mean in the sense that it was a respectable large company. Like I don't know what that market cap is right now. I'm actually going to take a quick peek at it. I have it in my little model here. I'm just going to take a quick peek at it. It's only $300 million. The thing was we're valued at what, 47 billion at one point, and then went public at 19. It's just unfortunate moves, and this is the type of thing you see when you've got, oh no, it's 4.5 billion is what it says on Yahoo Finance. I don't know how to read, but you do see that this at least is it is a very, very wildly speculative stock, and you need to understand the importance of being able to have risk management. Now, if you were short this whole time, like this is the weekly, this thing, oh, they must have been doing like a reverse split or something because this thing was up at $500, and then it's not. And then it's not. I don't know when they did a reverse split. Don't pay attention to it that way. But this thing was, I mean, I can't even look at this data. I mean, I look at this and I see that it's incredibly bullish, but I think it needs time to kind of unwind itself. The volume, I mean, absolutely bonkers. Wow, 730 million. I mean, that's an obnoxious amount of volume relative. Even on the weekly, you see this thing at 1.27 billion. Again, WeWork, it's actually quite unfortunate, and I really hope that no one got hurt in this because this is an ugly stock to be trading right now because you have to be so, I don't even know, to trade this. You have to be like an expert. You have to be an absolute expert to trade this properly. Like because right now the volatility is just weird. It's completely narrow. It's super negative, right? So while it's rising and it's negative, you should really think the price should be falling, which it is. So the correlation and the volatility are really speaking the truth here. But these are just unusual bars. You never see these types of moves. I mean, maybe in a Tesla, but Tesla deserves it. Like WeWork, wow, what is going on? Are you going to hit the top of the range when it is $9.23? There's a possibility there. We look at WeWork, we see that there could be some sort of like structural mess up where you could see something completely pop based on people being way too short or options or volume just being, I don't know, something being offsides. But this is really interesting. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is this even a good review? And before you go, subscribe to the New High newsletter. We give you 25 stocks to your inbox every single Sunday. Stocks between $5 and $20 that are breaking out. Stocks breaking out to 1-year highs. Stocks breaking out to all-time highs. It's a great list to review on a Sunday just before you get your market week started. I'll talk to you soon.